This is a battery-powered, self-contained Linux computer with a screen and a keyboard that literally fits in the palm of your hand. It has a ton of built-in features, but you can also hook up things like SDRs or external network tools and turn it into a portable analysis device. With custom software, it becomes a powerful pocketable tool with endless possibilities. This is CardputerZero. As of the making of this video, the new CardputerZero isn't available yet, but M5Stack has sent me this prototype to play around with. So let's start by taking a look at the hardware of this device. It's honestly surprising how much stuff they've managed to fit into this thing. CardputerZero is almost the exact same size as the previous CardPuter and CardPuter Advanced, just slightly thicker, with a larger screen and the keys a bit closer together. But it does have slightly larger keys, which feels less like you're stabbing your fingers with nails when pressing them. Unlike those other CardPuter variants that are powered by a simple ESP32 chip, this new CardputerZero is powered by RaspyJack, hence the name. While this isn't as powerful as a full-size Raspberry Pi, it still means that it can run a full-blown Linux operating system. To fit a Raspberry Pi Zero inside this tiny case, it actually uses the Compute Module variant, CM0, which is physically much smaller and doesn't have the regular connectors. I would show you what it looks like inside, but taking this one apart turned out to be a bit tricky, so let's just imagine it for now before I break it. The screen is a 320 by 170 pixels 1.9-inch display, and the keyboard has 46 buttons crammed together, which gives you access to the most common keyboard buttons by using a few modified keys. The shift button even lights up when enabling caps lock. The power button is this red sliding one on the front, which is unlikely to be switched accidentally even in your pocket. It also has a built-in microphone and speaker, as well as Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. On the left side we find some nice full-size USB-A and Ethernet connectors, as well as a USB-C one and a boot button, which I'm not actually sure what does yet. And behind this boot button are a couple of status LEDs. On the right side we find a full-size HDMI connector, a headphone jack, a Grove connector and another USB-C connector, which is used for charging, and there is a little charge indicator light next to it. On the top is the GPIO connector, which is the same one as is found on the CardPuter Advanced, and it fits the same modules, like this LoRa module, so it should be easy to implement support for Meshtastic or Mesh Core in the future. Next to it is the SD card slot, which the device boots from. Inside is a 1500 mAh battery, and it charges through the right USB-C connector, although only using a regular 5V supply and not power delivery. But it will charge while being turned off. From my testing, I've found the battery to last about 3 hours with Wi-Fi connected, screen brightness at max and a bit of light use. Of course, this will vary depending on the software you run and what hardware you connect. Unlike the previous CardPuters, this one does not have magnets on the back, so unfortunately it won't stick to your fridge. Not sure if this will be changed in the final version. I think they should have made a magnetically attachable battery pack to extend battery life, or a snap-in charging dock like the M5 Core had. It has a built-in IMU gyro and accelerometer, as well as a tiny 8-megapixel camera on the back, although these two features are only available on the full CardputerZero version. If you pick the cheaper light option, you won't be getting those. This early prototype is lacking the infrared transmit and receive functionality, and the hardware still has a few minor issues which I expect will be ironed out before the final release. Some specifications might change as well. It is impressive how much stuff M5Stack have managed to fit into this tiny little box. So let's take a look at what we can do with it at the moment and take a look at the very interesting community-made software which is already available for it. This prototype comes with a yet unfinished demo app launcher that boots up automatically when turning on the device. But we can have a bit of a look around. There is a file browser, SSH client, terminal, there's a Python parser, settings which is useful for connecting to Wi-Fi, and even a little snake game. There's also this slightly ominous looking hack menu, which features a few useful but simple tools like scanning for Wi-Fi networks, doing simple port scanning, etc. You navigate the menu by using the red arrow buttons. Inputting text is a bit slow, but fairly straightforward as the buttons each have color-coded alternative functionality associated with the respective modifier keys. The fun begins when we start digging into what we can do on our own here, either by SSHing into the device or killing the app launcher and switching to a terminal directly on the device. Using the USB-A port to connect a full-size keyboard makes it a bit easier to poke around and run some fun terminal commands. Although with the default font, our terminal window size is limited to 21 by 40 characters. Since this is just Raspberry and OS, we can install new software very easily using apt. For example, if we plug in an RTL SDR and run RTL433, suddenly we can scan for radio packets from common wireless sensors and remotes, using a fairly advanced piece of software that would otherwise require carrying around a laptop. While poking around and running commands manually can be a lot of fun, there's actually already a custom community-made piece of software available that makes the CardputerZero a much more capable device. You might know the developer, The Other One, from the Evil M5 project, which among other devices also runs on the existing ESP32-based CardputerZero and provides an absolute ton of functionality, like doing Wi-Fi and network analysis, scanning for surveillance cameras, flipper zeros, AirTags, and so much more. The Other One was actually already working on a portable Raspberry Pi Zero powered network analysis toolkit called RaspyJack, which he has quickly adapted to work on the new CardputerZero. And this is just a perfect fit for this device. It gives us a nice and easy interface for analyzing a network in various ways, running commands like nmap or responder, and having the ability to either use the internal or external Wi-Fi network or even connecting directly through Ethernet makes this a very useful and versatile tool. In the payload section, we get a ton of additional functionality, way more than I can cover here. Some of my favorites include tracking local airplanes using RTL SDR, watching CCTV camera feeds live, or even playing some games on the Game Boy emulator. The Other One has only just started on getting this working on the CardputerZero, so I'm sure it will have even more cool features once the final version of CardputerZero is released. While you technically can connect a full-size HDMI monitor and run a regular graphical user interface, Raspberry Pi Zero isn't really powerful enough for a smooth desktop-class experience. But it is perfect for this kind of small screen device for mostly simple graphics or text. Although I would have preferred a slightly larger screen so that we could have maybe had a terminal size of 80 by 24, then they could have fit a bigger battery as well. But of course, then the entire device would have needed to be larger and it probably wouldn't be suitable for the name CardputerZero. This is just an early look at CardputerZero, and it might already have piqued your interest for a specific use case. But what is the point and potential of devices like this? M5 Stack makes a bunch of different, easily accessible modules for your Internet of Things DIY projects, which can be very useful for specific setups, like building a robot or analyzing plant growth. But CardputerZero also falls into this general category of small handheld computers. I really enjoy using these, and I've collected a few different ones over time. People often ask why not just use an Android phone instead. And sure, for a lot of things an Android phone can be very useful, easy and cheap to set up. But I think there are a couple of reasons why I prefer dedicated handheld computers. One is that I really enjoy physical keyboards, hardware and connectors that makes everything much more approachable, as well as most of the software I want to run is easier to get working in regular Linux. Another reason also is that when I was a kid, I didn't really play a lot of games. But I did enjoy playing around with configuring Linux and trying out various applications, networking and programming. Handheld computers like these are just my way of getting that handheld retro gaming experience, just without the games, but more about playing around in Linux. Besides scratching my personal portable computing itch though, this device has the potential to be a powerful pocketable analysis multi-tool in a similar space as devices like the Hack 5, Pineapple Pager, or the upcoming Flipper One, bridging the gap between smaller and simpler electronic tools such as FlipperZero and the regular full-size laptops running more advanced software. I'm not as interested in yet another ESP32 device doing the same things as others before it. Devices running Linux, although a bit slower to boot and more battery hungry, have a lot more flexibility, especially when combined with the hardware and expansion options of CardputerZero, and lots of useful software workflows can be prepared for quick portable use on it. I can't wait to see what people will make once they get a hold of this. Check out the M5 Stack website for information on how to get a hold of the new CardputerZero. I hope I've given you a small insight into what the new CardputerZero is all about. And how do you like my new lab?